Okay, close that. 1 second. Hi, everyone. Just getting my video worked out here. Let me say hello to everybody in the live chat. Nobody's really there yet, but that's okay. We are on a schedule tonight, folks. I'm going to get started right away. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Saturday, August 1st, 2020. This is GoldFish Report number 538. This is week 182 POTUS report. This is our weekend edition, so it's from Wednesday to Saturday. We have a special report tonight. Hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Nice to see you. It is live, and I also want to welcome all the listeners on Ascension Radio, and I want to thank Ascension Radio for simulcasting this, as always, on Saturday nights. We want to give them a lot of support, so please go visit Ascension Radio. The link is, actually, it should be in the description section of every video, and I have to get it in there, don't I? Okay. Hi, Wanda. How are you? Yeah, dear. Haven't seen you in a long time. Nice to see you there. So here's the... hold on. I'm going to give you the link right here, and it should be... Oh my God, I'm really messing this up. Hold on a second, folks. Okay. The link for Ascension Radio is in the live chat. So if you could go there and help them out a little bit, that would be really helpful, because they do this every Saturday night, and they are simulcasting that for GoldFish Report. So hi, Shari, dear. Nice to see you. Glad you're joining me tonight. Folks, we have a special tonight. The first hour is going to be our POTUS report. The second hour, weather permitting, is going to be a live stream with the U.S. congressional candidate of the 21st district in Florida, which is the Palm Beach. I know, right? Are we crazy? We had this scheduled before the hurricane came, but honestly, I don't know if we're going to get connected. If we don't, then we're going to replay the interview I did with her earlier in the week. Her name is Reba Cheryl, and she is the candidate for the Republican, one of the Republican candidates for Congress, for the House of Representatives down in Florida, particularly the Palm Beach area. Now, I just got a message from her. So far, she still has internet. We have an hour to go. So what we're going to do is the first hour is going to be the POTUS report. Then we're going to take a 5-minute break. So at the top of the hour, so from about 8:55 to 9 o'clock, there's going to be a break. You won't see anything. We'll be right back, because we have to change live streams so that we can welcome Reba to the GoldFish Report again, and onto Ascension Radio for the first time. So that's how we're going to do. That's the lineup for tonight. And so let's get going. We have a lot to report on. Everybody saw what happened this week on the Hill. Obviously, Attorney General Barr, they really didn't want him to say anything and reveal anything that was exposing the Democrats. But of course, he handled himself, stoic and epic, like he always does. But you know what? I do have this video here that I wanted to share with everybody of what really the highlight of the week was. And it's only a matter of time before Tony the Rat Fauci is taken down, because he is a rat, and he's really, going to be exposed as a fraud, I believe. So let's just take a listen. Let's hear his own words. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Dr. Fauci, do protests increase the spread of the virus?
Do protests increase the spread of the virus? I think I can make a general statement.
Well, 500,000 protesters on June 6th alone.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, that number of people, does it increase the spread of the virus?
Crowding together, particularly when you're not wearing a mask, contributes to the spread of the virus.
Should we limit the protesting?
I'm not sure what you mean. How do we say limit the protesting?
Should government limit the protesting?
I don't think that's relevant to...
Well, you just said if it increases the spread of the virus. I'm just asking, should we limit it?
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the government can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make all kinds of recommendations. You,
No.
you make comments on dating, on baseball, on everything
No.
you can imagine. I'm just asking you, just said that protests increase the spread.
No.
I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protests?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell you.
Government stopping people from going to church, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Last week in the Calvary Chapel case, 5 liberals on the Supreme Court said it was okay for Nevada to limit church services. Justice Gorsuch said it best. He said there's no world in which the Constitution permits Nevada to favor Caesar's Palace over Calvary Chapel. I'm just asking, is there a world where the Constitution says you can favor one First Amendment liberty, protesting, over another, practicing your faith?
I'm not favoring anybody over anybody. I'm just making a statement that's a broad statement that avoid crowds of any type, no matter where you are, because that leads to the acquisition and transmission. And I don't judge one crowd versus another crowd. When you're in a crowd, particularly if you're not wearing a mask, that induces the spread.
It's a simple question, doctor. Should we limit the protests? Government is obviously limiting people going to church. And look, there's been no violence that I can see at church. I haven't seen people during a church service go out and harm police officers or burn buildings. But we know that, for 63.
Bingo. Yeah, he's got a very important job, Jim Jordan. He is activated, okay? So this is really, we all saw that, and I just had to replay that. But that wasn't the only highlight of the week regarding hydroxychloroquine. Regarding hydroxychloroquine, I have, before I start POTUS, because it's all relative to his policy, let's take a look at another event that happened this week in D.C. regarding the same issue of COVID. Let's listen.
So right now, I came here to Washington, D.C. to say, America, nobody needs to die. The study that made me start using hydroxychloroquine was a study that they did under the NIH in 2005 that say it works. Recently, I was doing some research about a patient that had hiccups, and I found out that they even did a recent study in the NIH, which is our National Institute, that is the National Institute of Health. They actually had a study, I'm going to look it up. Type hiccups and COVID, you will see it. They treated a patient that had hiccups with hydroxychloroquine, and it proved that COVID is a symptom of hiccups. It's a symptom of COVID. So if the NIH knows that treating the patient with hydroxychloroquine proves that hiccup is a symptom of COVID, then they definitely know that hydroxychloroquine works. I'm upset. Why I'm upset is that I see people that cannot breathe. I see parents walk in, I see diabetics sit in my office knowing that this is a death sentence and they can't breathe. And I hug them and I tell them it's going to be okay, you're going to live. And we treat them and they live. None has died. So if some fake science, some person sponsored by all these fake pharma companies comes and say, oh, we've done studies and they found out that it doesn't work, I can tell you categorically it's fake science. I want to know who is sponsoring that study. I want to know who is behind it. Because there is no way I can treat 350 patients and counting and nobody is dead and they all did better. And then you're going to tell me that you treated 20 people, 40 people and it didn't work. I'm a true testimony. So I came here to Washington, D.C. to tell America, nobody needs to get sick. This virus has a cure. It is called hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and zithromax. I know people want to talk about mask. Hello? You don't need mask. There is a cure. I know they don't want to open schools. No, you don't need people to be locked down. There is prevention and there is a cure. And let me tell you something. All you fake doctors out there that tell me, oh yeah, I want a double-blinded studies. I just tell you, quit sounding like a computer, double-blinded. I don't know whether your chips are malfunctioning, but I'm a real doctor. I have radiologists, we have plastic surgeons, we have neurosurgeons like Sanjay Gupta saying, oh yeah, it doesn't work and it causes heart disease. Let me ask you, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, hear me. Have you ever seen a COVID patient? Have you ever treated anybody with hydroxychloroquine and they died from heart disease? When you do, come and talk to me. Because I sit down in my clinic every day and I see these patients walk in every day, scared to death. I see people driving 2-3 hours to my clinic because some ER doctor is scared of the Texas board or they are scared of something and they will not prescribe medication to these people. I tell all of you doctors that are sitting down and watching Americans die, you're like the good Nazis, the good Germans, that watched Jews get killed and you did not speak up. If they come after me, they threaten me. They've threatened to, I've gotten all kinds of threats. Oh, they're going to report me to the boards. I say, you know what, I don't care. I'm not going to let Americans die. And if this is the mountain, if this is the hill where I get nailed on, I will get nailed on it. I don't care. You can report me to the boards, you can kill me, you can do whatever, but I'm not going to let Americans die. And today I'm here to say that America, there is a cure for COVID. All this foolishness does not need to happen. There is a cure for COVID. There is.
So let's just end there, because that's pretty, that's pretty compassionate, testimony from a doctor. There's a group of doctors that was there, and this isn't the only thing. I'm going to also screen share, just because I want to deal with this COVID issue right up front, because the president started to resume his press conferences on COVID. So let's hear a little bit more from Dr. Judy Mikovits about this.
World again, and we got tons of money, because we can take all that money they're making on their patents and we can give it to the victims of this plague of corruption.
Is it safe to say that anything that cannot be patented has been shut down intentionally because there's no way to profit from it, all these natural remedies that we have had forever?
Absolutely, that's fair to say, and that's exactly what's going on in COVID-19. The game is to prevent the therapies till everyone is infected and push the vaccines, knowing that the flu vaccines increase the odds by 36% of getting COVID-19.
Where does that data come from?
A publication last year where the military who had been vaccinated with influenza were more susceptible to coronaviruses. Coronaviruses are in every animal. So if you've ever had a flu vaccine, you were injected with coronaviruses, and then to put on a mask.
This doesn't make any sense. We wear masks in an acute setting to protect us. We're not wearing masks. Why is that? Because we understand microbiology, we understand immunology, and we want strong immune systems. Our immune system is used to touching. We share bacteria, staphylococcal, streptococcal bacteria, viruses. We develop an immune response daily to this stuff. When you take that away from me, my immune system drops. As I shelter in place, my immune system drops. You keep me there for months, it drops more. And now I'm at home, hand washing vigorously, washing the counters, worried about things that are indeed what I need to survive.
You're not immunodeficient and you're not elderly. You should be able to go out without any gloves and without a mask. I think if you are those things, you should either shelter in place or wear a mask and gloves. I don't think everybody needs to wear a mask and gloves, because it reduces your bacterial flora. It doesn't allow you to interact with society, and your bacteria flora and your viruses, your friends that protect you from other diseases, end up going away, and now you're more likely to get opportunistic infections that are hoping you don't have your good bugs fighting for you, if that makes sense.
So this week, folks, that's the, everyone has seen this. This has gone viral on Twitter, and unfortunately, a lot of these videos have been deleted from YouTube, but I'm sorry, from social media, but fortunately many are reappearing, and of course we're going to keep replaying it as well. And then of course the administration today is taking one step further, and here's Kelly McEnany talking about this, about what the president's doing.
Yesterday,
the president announced and asked everybody to donate plasma, which is from your blood, which would have antibodies in it. So let's take a listen.
President Trump visited the American Red Cross headquarters to hold a roundtable on donating plasma. This initiative will empower Americans to help their fellow Americans in battling the virus. These critical investments in a coronavirus vaccine are due to the fact that we have a businessman in the White House. Yesterday, President Trump visited the American...
Very interesting. So there we have it, folks. This is where the president, and this is the most up-to-date and recent policy actions that the president's taking regarding this. The president has talked about vaccines and therapeutics. So just be very careful, okay? I think the president is having a deal with some vaccine companies, and even Dr. Judy Mikovits said that vaccines in and of themselves are not dangerous. She believes in immunotherapy. That's what she does. And vaccines are immunotherapy. It's what else they're putting in those vaccines that are a problem. So is it every vaccine manufacturer that is doing this, and I would pay very close attention to the ones that the president is working with. Now, having said that, are these vaccine manufacturers also making other therapeutics? Like, for instance, the COVID, the hydroxychloroquine. That should be, and I think there's been polls going around on social media regarding whether that should be made over the counter, and I think there's a very big there's a lot of support for this. Hey James, how you doing? I'm sorry to interrupt my report. James from Euphoria Chronicles is our moderator tonight in our live chat. Thank you so much, James, for being there. I appreciate it. So everybody go check out Euphoria Chronicles on Facebook. And so I like to help support those who help me. So yeah, so this is the deal. So let's take a look at what else the president is doing. President this week also talked about, we will get back to COVID in a little bit, but let's keep moving along because there was a lot going on. Of course, we know right now that there's a hurricane down in Florida, and it's coming up the whole entire coast. Let me see if I have a picture of that. I do. Everybody knows about this. It's not news. I'm not sharing anything that most people don't know, but this is the projected forecast for it as of 5 a.m. Well, I think it's changed actually since then, but whatever. You can go to NOAA and check it out. Go to hurricanes.gov. But this is still the projected path, I think. Since the last time I actually checked it on the Weather Channel, this is what it was. So there's a whole bunch of people, including myself, in that cone. So looks like we're gonna have a little wind and rain coming our way. Who knows what this will develop into, but that's so the president is busy taking care of issues this week as well, pertaining to emergency declarations in ahead of this storm. But let's get to talking about what the president has been doing for the remainder of the week. This is the weekend edition, folks, so this is only from Wednesday to Saturday. The first part of the week is done in the midweek POTUS report, which is already published. And today the president was actually at his golf course in Sterling, Virginia, the Trump National Golf Course. So he was there playing some golf and taking a little downtime. And so that's where the president was today. The president is unleashing American producers and restored our energy dominance. So this is a big deal because we don't want to rely on foreign countries for our sources of energy. And this was, a very important, very, very important issue, even like 20 years ago when he was interviewed, when Donald Trump was interviewed. I think it was on, was it Oprah or no, I don't know who. No, it wasn't Oprah. I don't know who it was. It was some interview he did like 20 years ago, and energy was a big issue. So here, leading an energy revolution, American energy production is soaring to new heights under President Donald J. Trump. Pro-jobs, pro-national security, and energy independence agenda. Under President Trump's leadership, the United States has become the world's #1 producer of oil and maintained our position as the #1 producer of natural gas. American energy exports reached an all-time high last year, marking the first time in 67 years that our annual gross energy exports exceeded our gross energy exports. Crude oil production hit new record highs both last year and the year before, leaping past the previous record set in 1970. Crude oil production was up 38% last year compared to 2016. The Trump administration has increased exports of U.S. liquefied natural gas by nearly fivefold and issued 20 long-term authorizations for LNG exports, which is liquefied natural gas. I guess would that be like fracking? I don't know. Somebody put it in the chat if you know if that's from. I don't know. I don't know if that's part of fracking. Okay, the president is taking further action today to promote our energy independence by signaling 4 critical permits for vital pipeline and railway infrastructure of our nation's borders. President Trump has proven that energy production and environmental stewardship are not mutually exclusive, as America continues to be a world leader in clean air, including in energy-related CO2 emissions. Our nation's air quality has improved by 77% over the last 50 years, including 7% under President Trump. Achieving historic deregulation, President Trump's deregulation campaign has eliminated unnecessarily burdensome rules that stifle domestic energy production. The deregulatory actions taken by the Trump administration are simultaneously benefiting the American consumer and the energy sector by lowering costs, speeding up projects, and removing unnecessary bureaucratic and regulatory hurdles. I'm sorry, I wasn't on my headset. There we go. The administration took action to right-size the federal government's environmental review process, the first such update in over 40 years. President Trump has ended the Obama administration's war on coal and is replacing the expensive job-killing Clean Power Plan with the Affordable Clean Energy ACE rule. All told, the president's actions unleashing the shale revolution are saving Americans over $200 billion annually through lower energy prices. And shale, I guess this would be the fracking, as a result of fracking, I think. So if you know for sure, put this in the chat if you can clarify that, as I think here the shale is what is a result of the the fracking process. So this is disproportionately benefiting poor households who typically spend a greater percentage of their income on gasoline, natural gas, and electricity bills. Absolutely true, folks. Absolutely true. The president's leadership and decisive action during the pandemic have enabled the energy industry to contribute to the nation's economic recovery. President Trump's leadership throughout the coronavirus pandemic has given energy producers the support they need to keep afloat. A recent analysis showed that the Paycheck Protection Program for companies struggling with the coronavirus pandemic saved more than half of oil field jobs in Texas. The Small Business Administration has made more than $1 billion in forgivable loans to Texas oil field producers to keep their employees on the payroll. While energy producers were hit hard by the sudden drop in demand, due in part from the coronavirus, consumer demand in oil and natural gas production are rapidly returning. With the help of the president's policies, American energy companies will be at the forefront of our nation's rapid economic recovery. Here's the president talking about this a little bit more. I'm not going to show many more clips tonight because I want to do this on, as I announced in the beginning of our report, we have a special second hour interview we're going to be doing, and we need to take a 5-minute break between these two interviews. So I want to really try to get this in under an hour. So let's keep going. We just talked about this. I'm not going to repeat these headlines here. So this is the photo of the day of the president at the Andrews Air Force Base. And no, this is him in Midland, Texas. I'm sorry. He was either arriving or he was returning home. Okay, there's 8 nominations sent to the Senate. In fact, I believe I did report on this. I did on Wednesday, so I'm going to keep going. Statement from the press secretary, and I also reported on this on Wednesday. This is regarding continued Treasury and state sanctions on the Assad regime, which is Syria. You can come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and you can read this. I did report on it in Wednesday's midweek report. Also, same thing with this transcript. I don't read the transcripts; they're way too long. I don't read them on the POTUS reports. So here we have the president bringing drug manufacturing back to America. This week, the Trump administration signed off on a partnership with Kodak to begin producing critical pharmaceutical ingredients right here in the United States. Like, who really knew Kodak was involved in that, right? We all thought Kodak just made photos. But apparently, they're part of the pharmaceutical industry as well. America is dangerously dependent on foreign supply chains for all 3 stages of drug production. Starting materials used to manufacture active ingredients, the active ingredients themselves, and the finished product in the form of tablets, pills, and injectables. Peter Navarro and Adam Bowler-Wright. The Kodak project is a big win for the Defense Production Act, a big win for New York and the nation, and a huge step forward toward the U.S. pharmaceutical independence. Wonderful. California Governor Gavin Newsom has declared that over 80% of the state's school-age population won't return to the classroom this fall, despite calls from the CDC, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and other healthcare experts for schools to reopen for in-person learning wherever possible, according to the City Journal. President Trump will head to Midland, Texas on Wednesday to tour an oil rig owned by Double Eagle Energy and deliver remarks on how the U.S. is achieving energy dominance by cutting regulations, simplifying permitting, and encouraging private investment in energy infrastructure, according to Fox Business. On a nightly basis, hordes of rioters attack federal law enforcement officers who are guarding Portland's Mark O. Hatfield Federal Courthouse. On Monday night, one of the rioters threw a bomb at the courthouse. The rampant violence isn't a small part of the story. It is the story, just not one of the mainstream media wants to talk about. In fact, I even read a report where they were putting, look, this is like Al-Qaeda stuff. This is like ISIS stuff, where they're like implanting nails and stuff inside these firecrackers. And this is horrible. This has to be we have become the Middle East, right? It has come here. Not like it's the people's fault there, but I mean, it's terrible. We've become Gaza, the middle of this war. It's like, did we ever think this was going to happen? Well, let me tell you something. We know for sure. I'm going to tell you this. We know for sure it's not the conservatives doing this, right? You show me one conservative out there who is part of these riots, part of these BLM. You show me one conservative. It is not Trump's constituency. It's not his base. So then who is it? Well, you know the answer to that. The answer to that is that it's the Democrat Marxists who have taken over. This is absolutely a power grab, a Marxist power grab that you are witnessing right in front of your eyes right now. Make no mistake, this is not the party of John F. Kennedy anymore. They have been hijacked, they have been infiltrated. We had a coup d'etat after Kennedy was assassinated, and they have infiltrated us. As Q says, infiltration instead of invasion. But Q didn't say that first. It was President Kennedy who said that in his 1961 speech to the American Newspapers Publishers Association, where he talked about secret societies, and he talked about that we are at war, even though none was declared. Well, let me tell you something, folks. Nothing's changed really much since then, because this is the war that we're still fighting right now, that President Trump is trying to finally have victory over. We are fighting this invisible enemy. It's an ideology. And, but our viewers on GoldFish Report know this. So let's keep going. Okay, statement from the press secretary regarding the implementation of President Trump's executive order on preventing online censorship. On Monday, the Department of Commerce, as directed by President Donald J. Trump's executive order on preventing online censorship, filed a petition to clarify the scope of Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act. The petition requests that the Federal Communications Commission clarify that Section 230 does not permit social media companies to alter or editorialize users' speech to escape civil liability. The petition also requested that the FCC clarify when an online platform curates content in good faith and requests transparency requirements on their moderation practices, similar to requirements imposed on broadband service providers under Title I of the Communications Act. President Trump will continue to fight back against unfair, un-American, and politically biased censorship of Americans online. Well, let me tell you, that's not all. As you look through your television to try to even get your weather, your local weather, I had to sit through this Marxist propaganda. I mean, they're just completely lying to the American people. The Biden campaign, the Democrats, it's outright lies. What they're all being forced to report, even on the news. I mean, the Weather Channel, nothing like fear porn, right? Oh, we have this hurricane in the middle of this coronavirus pandemic. Didn't you just hear the doctor say we have a cure for this? So where's the medication? Well, as Dr. Judy Mikovits said, well, they're going to suppress that until everybody's infected. Okay, folks, we need to stand up. We're at war. This is it. This is the final battle for America. Every single one of us has to be part of this. Every single one of us. You need to call your legislators. You need to do what you can. Everybody is responsible. Everybody. If you're an American, it's we the people. If you don't like it, leave. If you don't want that responsibility and you don't want that duty, leave. But it is your duty, or you can lose it. And, if you want socialism, there's certainly plenty of countries you can go to if that's what you want. But honestly, we're at war. And make no mistake about it that everybody has to play a part in this. Everybody. Here is another press conference that I'm not going to read the transcript for. Sorry that I'm scrolling, but I do want to get through this. Okay, very quickly. All right, let me stop in on my chat and say hello to everybody. How's everybody doing? Hi, everybody. Nice to see you, Slim. Thanks, Careful Carpenter. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Yep. Darlene, hello, Mr. Virtue. Again, James, thanks for being with us, James, and being moderator. And Wanda, Isla, Cheryl, Dr. Arden, haven't seen you in a long time. Nice to see you. Shari, dear. Ascension Radio is not working? Okay. I can send them a message really quick. Let them know. Okay, we got to get through the rest of this because, like I said, we need to hurry up and finish. We need to hurry up and finish. You saw funny comments. I'm sorry. I need to get distracted. I really need to laugh because this is just okay. Where are we? Okay. Let me get through this press release here. There's another, the press release transcripts are very long, so I definitely want you to come here and take a look. Here's more on COVID, okay, as I said earlier. This is what the president is doing. So the President Trump to recovered coronavirus patients. Your plasma could save lives. So President Trump just visited the American Cross headquarters, where he joined public health experts from across the government to discuss a promising new development in the fight against coronavirus. New research has shown the plasma from recovered COVID-19 patients could help those who are currently battling the disease. The Red Cross and America's Blood Centers together will receive up to $270 million from the administration for the collection of up to 360,000 units of plasma for this purpose. President Trump says donate as soon as you can. We have already treated nearly 50,000 patients with plasma, President Trump said. Roughly 2 million Americans have fully recovered from the virus. If you had a prior verified diagnosis of COVID-19 and are now symptom-free and fully recovered, consider donating plasma to help save American lives. These plasma treatments may work by delivering antibodies to current coronavirus patients, helping them to fight off the virus more effectively. Operation Warp Speed, a public-private partnership launched by President Trump, continues to explore therapeutics while American innovators work to discover and manufacture a vaccine. Such therapeutic supplies are being delivered by the Trump administration to hotspots across the country. With a focus on vulnerable cities and populations, the federal government continues to work with state and local officials, collection centers, and hospitals to monitor at-risk areas and expand capacity as needed. As of this week, independent community blood centers have distributed more than 100,000 doses of COVID-19 convalescent plasma to patients in need, says Kay Fry, CEO of America's Blood Centers. She added that they are projecting to double that number by the end of August. President Trump is making sure that bureaucratic red tape doesn't get in the way of finding safe, effective treatments. A large Mayo Clinic study found that the use of plasma for COVID-19 is safe and could possibly result in lower mortality rates. The FDA is increasing access to plasma while studies into its effectiveness continue. Plasma donations could mark another important step toward defeating this virus. President Trump is using every tool at his disposal during this pandemic to keep our country safe, healthy, and strong. So here is a photo of the president at a blood center, with someone here who is donating blood, and then I guess they spin the plasma out of it. I don't know if you can donate just plasma. It's part of the blood, so you kind of have to put it in a centrifuge in order to separate it. So you're donating blood is basically what you're doing. Okay, folks, so let's keep going. This is what I was just reading about here. Let me see. Plasma donations are important for many Americans, including those with immunodeficiencies. Donors can give plasma multiple times, providing a supply of useful antibody treatments. As the race to develop effective vaccines and therapeutics continues, convalescent plasma is the first widely available antibody-based therapy for this virus. While HHS continues to clinically evaluate efficacy data, I can't see that. Hold on a second. I can't take a call. Just can't do it. Sorry. Okay. Convalescent. Never mind. Securing effective treatments. This action expands on President Trump's historic efforts to accelerate the development of vaccines and therapeutics, which we just talked about. You can come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and you can check out. Yeah, and check out the rest of these press releases. I've already discussed them, but if you want to see more detail, you can do that. And I'm just trying to hear from yeah, okay. So there was a meeting this week also with Gloria Gulian. Julian, thank you for having us. Her daughter was killed in the service of the country from the hands of people who are in the military. She just wants your help to get the truth and to get justice. So you can come here and learn about this from the blog. We're going to continue because we really have a tight schedule tonight. So here he is. Here it is. First Lady Be Best is advocating that every child find a loving, safe, and forever family. And this is human trafficking and child trafficking has been one of the top issues of the president's administration, and of course the First Lady as well, along with her Be Best, as she's saying right here. America's kids need us now more than ever. First Lady Melania Trump writes, the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic have had a serious impact on America's children and those who care for them, from parents and teachers to child welfare workers and foster families. We are all doing all that we can to establish common sense solutions that best serve our children in the welfare system. Millions of people will continue to have access to affordable short-term health plans. A 3-judge panel of the court upheld a 2-to-1 margin, a Trump administration rule extending the maximum duration of short-term plan to just under a year, according to the Washington Examiner. The biggest, most sophisticated Mars rollover built, a car-sized vehicle bristling with cameras, microphones, drills, and lasers, blasted off for the Red Planet Thursday. The mission will yield lessons that could have paved the way for the arrival of astronauts as early as the 2030s, according to the Associated Press. While other countries talk about improving environmental indicators, the United States is doing it. In fact, we have done more to help the environment and economy during the first 3.5 years of the Trump administration than the Obama administration did in all of 8 years. That is so believable. Okay, let me just check in with the live chat. How is everybody doing? Nice to see you all. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, can you tell me, can anybody else hear it on Ascension Radio? Okay, let's go continue the report. We have to really get this done quickly because we have our second hour coming up with Reba Sherrill. She is the congressional candidate. She's the candidate for the 21st Congressional District in Florida. She's going to be joining us during the hurricane. So let's get through this for her so we can welcome her on. Okay, so the president and his administration have created the best COVID-19 testing system in the world. President Trump has revolutionized the American testing system under his leadership. We are now averaging 810,000 tests per day. During July, more than 930,000 COVID tests were conducted in a single day. India has a population more than 4 times as large as the United States, but has only conducted around 1/3 of the number of tests. Millions of point-of-care COVID-19 tests provide patients with a turnaround time of just 15 minutes, where some hospitals is less than 24 hours. The administration is aggressively investigating investing in the expansion of point-of-care testing and supports pooling of samples to improve turnaround times even more. Thanks to President Trump's revolutionary test efforts, we have been able to track cases better than other countries. Oh, I didn't even tell you about the enumerated list. I'll probably do this on Monday. The enumerated list of restrictions that kids who are going back to school have to follow and go by. And I'm telling you, it is so ridiculous. I just can't even tell you right now. Okay, so there's more here. More than 2,000 community-based testing sites are either completely federally supported or enabled by the administration's regulatory actions. 94% of the 13,000 Health Resources and Service Administration funded federally qualified health centers are now offering COVID-19 testing. There's more here, a few more statistics and details. I'm not going to go through all the stats because you can come to the blog and check that out yourself if you want to know stats. But we've done an amazing job in handling this, getting tests, and really mobilizing the government and private sector, even in a collaborative way, as the president has said, to get a handle on this, to do testing, to implement protocols, to provide therapeutics, vaccines, the whole thing, and of course the protective wear for the healthcare workers and so forth. There's a transcript here which I'm not going to read; it's too long, and then I have this might be. I'm going to be wrapping this up very, very soon. Okay, so another one. There's more comments. Folks, I don't have time to go over those comments tonight. Again, this is more about the Texas couple has saved 68 lives and counting with their COVID-19 plasma donations. So that's good. There's no substitute for proactive policing. As budget cuts begin to affect police personnel, departments may have to pull officers from proactive activities and place them in response cars to manage the demand for emergency calls. Criminal justice professor William Sosa writes, if the 20th century American history is any guide, higher rates of crime and disorder will likely result. Okay, we talked about energy dominance. Also, Ben Carson talks about how HUD is helping Ohio foster youth. Ohio's foster youth. So HUD launched the Foster Youth to Independence Initiative, a unique program offering housing vouchers to localities to award to foster youth so they can receive rental assistance when obtaining their first home in the private rental market. Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson writes, to date, 26 states have received funding for 680 individual vouchers for a total of $5.6 million. Another subject is these kids are getting left behind when schools go online. So according to experts, millions of school-aged children live in households without home internet service, high-speed internet, access to computer devices, or help from parents who know how to use them. Last spring, some schools warned they were seeing a growing number of students missing online classes. And, that's a reality of this. That's why the kids need to get back to school. But we need to realize that you can take hydroxychloroquine prophylactically. And as the doctor said, she's got a medical degree. She said that there's a cure for this. We don't need to be, doing the social distancing. We don't need to be wearing masks. We don't need to be limiting manufacturing. We don't need to be staying home from jobs. We don't need to be staying home from school. Enough of this. But if you want to protest and start anarchy and vandalize federal buildings, oh, that's okay. All rules are suspended. And if you go to a Democrat funeral, it's also suspended as well. So all the COVID protocols are suspended there too. So just a little point of interest there. So everything going okay? Sherry's cool. Don't bother my friend Sherry. Okay. Yeah, she's just trying to let everybody know that Ascension Radio is not working. If you have Chrome, it might not play on Chrome. You might have to go into Safari to play Ascension Radio. I guess we should make a note of that. And we're going to finish up this report tonight with White House photos of the week very quickly. And we're going to take a short break. We have a couple more press releases to get through, and then we're going to take a quick break. So here's the Rose Garden. We know that the First Lady announced a project to restore and renovate this historic garden. That's what this is about. So this is where you go when you have those outdoor press conferences, which I was lucky enough to attend. And it's wonderful. And this is other parts of the Rose Garden as well. So this is lovely, beautiful pictures of the White House and the Rose Garden here as well. This was an interesting story. This man walking Marine, I think he walked like from Georgia or something all the way to Washington, D.C. And, you know, for raising awareness of Marines. And I believe that's what it was. Yeah, from North Carolina to Washington, D.C. to raise awareness of veteran suicide. Exactly. Which was wonderful. And the president was there to greet him as he crossed the finish line. That's wonderful. It's really, really wonderful. Here he is. Did a lot of walking. And First Lady Karen Pence was there also to welcome them. And I think that's Mark Esper, right? Isn't that Mark? No. Ooh. No, it's a Veterans Affairs Secretary, Robert Wilkie. Okay, so here's just a lovely picture of Marine One. What is it? It's departing. Lovely. That was so awesome when I was there. I was live streaming this. You just had to be there. It was just so historic. It was just wonderful. Here we have the president talking about Operation Warp Speed as he continued his coronavirus briefings. And here you also have him at the Process Innovation Center at Fujifilm Biotechnologies in North Carolina. And then you have some more pictures of that and some black and whites of the president here. Lovely pictures. I love the pictures. I love to be able to share them with you on our Saturday night weekend edition of the POTUS Report. Here you have Vice President Mike Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence pay their respects to Representative John Lewis lying in state at the Capitol. And just remember that, you know, all COVID protocols are suspended. And not only that, did you see Barack Obama making this a political event? It's shameful. They have no shame. No shame whatsoever, these people. Okay, here we have the First Lady participating in a virtual roundtable regarding the Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute's Foster Youth Intern Program. I love how the First Lady really does get into this. It's not just her be best. It's these important policy issues regarding children, and she's right there in the meeting room with them. And I think it's wonderful because she's a mom, and she, you know, she wants what's best for children, and she has the ability to be a big advocate for kids. And she's utilizing that position she has to be the biggest advocate for kids that she could possibly be. And she's doing a wonderful job. Here's the president at the news conference. There's more questions. More conference there. Here's the president with Stephen Mnuchin and Chief of Staff Mark Meadows on the South Portico, speaking to reporters. And here's President Trump greeting Texas Governor Greg Abbott as he disembarks Air Force One at Midland International Airport. Very interesting. You know, and you know, what's wonderful, what I love to see about this is you have an American with disabilities who is, you know, in a very high government position as a governor. And we're going to be interviewing another American with disabilities who also will be running for Congress, because, you know, thanks to our American with Disabilities Act, we have so many people who are able to work, who want to work despite their disability, or maybe even in spite of it. And they continue to go on and make wonderful progress and contribute to and be very productive members of our society. And we're so grateful for that. And this is more about the energy. And so these are the pictures. You have to come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and check out the rest of these pictures. I'm going to blow through them very quickly here because we don't have the time. Yes, I have 5 minutes to finish. Sorry, I'm going to scroll through these pictures, folks. You're not going to like it, but here we go. We have the president approving the Florida Emergency Declaration. We also have the presidential message on National Shooting Sports Month, which I'm not a fan of. Okay, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't really like killing animals. So whatever. Moving along. Statement from the press secretary. The Supreme Court reaffirmed today that it meant what it said a year ago. Special interest groups likely lack any cause of action to sue the Department of Defense from transferring funds, and the Trump administration should be allowed to build the wall and protect our country while litigation proceeds. Borders are a non-controversial reality of every sovereign nation, and we plan to defend ours. Okay, here is the president. There's remarks from in the COVID-19 response and storm preparedness roundtable in the Pelican Golf Club in Bel Air, Florida. You can come here and check out this transcript. I'm not going to read it. So, the president basically was reiterating the things that we just talked about. So you're not really going to miss much. He may have some comments on some other foreign policy issues or some other issues, but essentially that's what we're talking about. So, folks, it is 8:49. I want to thank everybody. Yeah. Oh, there's some problem on Ascension Radio. I'm trying to tell them all. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can let them know. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with Ascension Radio right now. I'm texting them and I'm letting them know they need to listen on another device to, they have to find a way to manage that, I guess. So that's it, folks. Let me just check in with you and see how you're all doing. What's going to happen if you want to listen in on Ascension Radio? You're probably better off using your Safari browser, because it's not user-friendly with Chrome for some reason. So try using Safari or some other browser, but Chrome, sometimes there's a problem with using Chrome, so I would suggest using another browser. So, folks, a lot of stuff going on. I would have liked to have reported a little bit more, but I think we got the point across. I really wanted to talk about what happened with Jim Jordan today. Folks, a lot's going to be exposed, and you really also have to follow the president's brother. He is absolutely... oh, my God, he's a piece of work. It's not a verified account on Twitter, but it's Uncle Rob Trump. Robert Trump is his name, and oh my goodness, this guy is dropping truth bombs left and right and left. He's actually saying that JFK Jr. is going to be announced as the VP on election night. We'll see if that happens. Lots of rumors of this being true and also being part of QAnon. So and there's also talk that that's what during the Bush funeral, that's what was on the envelopes. The envelopes had some sort of evidence that JFK Jr. was alive and that they had all the information. And George Bush Sr. Apparently had to give it up in order to make some deal for mercy, I guess, on his family. So we'll see what happens. It's really interesting stuff. So look, I'm going to sign off right now. I want to thank all of our viewers for joining us. We are going to be back in 5 minutes. We're taking a 5-minute break so we can generate a new live stream link for our interview coming up. So I want to thank you all for viewing. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report. We'll be right back. You're going to have to jump into the next stream because it's going to be on a new link. So thanks for joining us.